coding issue. It wasn't consistent for V2 and V3. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like same pair, but like different liquidity portion that they get from different version of pool. But then how they logged in the DEX trades table is just this flipped in terms of maker and taker side.
But ideally, there should be only one, right? Either you can swap it on V2 or, oh yeah, there are two. Okay, got it.
So
There are two things written in the Etherscan as well for V2 and V3.
yeah, V2 and V3. But is that true that they are just collecting? Wait, it's also swapped on Etherscan. Hmm. Why though? Oh, it could be. It's also possible that this can be an arbitrage bot, and then it's like doing some, I don't know, like arbitraging between different pools.
Yeah, 13,000 transactions. That looks like a bot.
Andrew here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, he's a.
Oh, cool. Let me check if it's to swap event.
Hello.
There's only one swap event. That's weird though. Let me see. That one was index equal to 3 and 5. So this one was decoded. And then 5 is, okay, this is another event that is not even decoded by, okay, that's another pool on Uniswap. I think it's just Etherscan didn't show it as swap, but it's actually swap in V3. But anyway, okay. We should start to continue from yesterday. So yesterday we managed to come up with this table for V3 trades on Uniswap. And we were trying to also show it by, grouping it by time and show like the trading volume amount. But we were short of time. So also like when I showed the test query, we limited it to like 100. So what we get from like grouping by day, it's just one entry. I think we can continue on the slides, but before that we can leave this query to run to just see good data later on. So let's say we want to look at maybe last 1 month and then look at per day. So we want to truncate the data into the last recent 1 month. What we would do here is that when we construct the raw table, I will do like a date trunk, and then I'll put it as maybe, let's say 30 days. I'll specify a time window or like interval of time. I think there are also some other ways to write it. For example, like I think I used to write it like 30 days and then double. What's the English word for this symbol? And double it and then say interval. Yeah, and then this is gonna be the same effect with this, I believe. And so now we have a like last 30-day trades table, and then we try to group it by per day. We're gonna group by here, say block time date trunk to be per day, and then name it as date, and then this is the USD amount we got last time. We say group it by 1. We can also copy this and paste it here, say group it by this variable, but I always just use like a easy way, just like 1, 2, 3, 4. They just specifying the position in this whole select statement. And we can let it run and we can check it back later. Okay, I think it's gonna take like 5 minutes or something because there are so many trades. All right, I'll go back to slides. Uniswap V3 trades table, the query link is there. And then so the next thing I wanted to share with you guys is like, so when we talk about DEX as like analyst, we still the the service question is, what are the metrics we want to use to describe this market, or like trying to compare across the projects? I actually want to maybe take some answers from everyone. What kind of metrics do you think is the most important for DEX or aggregator? I'll wait 1 block time, so 5 more seconds, I guess. Okay.
Of unique addresses that are interacting with the DEX that are successfully trading. That might be one. And then other might be the amount of volume in terms of ether that is being traded. Another might be what is the number of trades. So on and so forth.
Yeah. Thanks for the answer. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like we look at user base as any DApp would care, and then also like we talk about like trading volume and also number of trades that are placed. We can have different reading from all those metrics. Also like compare across projects. We'll also look at market share and stuff. We can actually find a lot of metrics from this called DEX metrics dashboard. I think this is the most favorite dashboard across Dune Analytics by Frederick. We're gonna go through here in a second, but I want to just come through some definition about user in the specific context under DEX. So like let's say, how are we defining the users under DEX? We know that people who are participating in DEX platform are mainly trader. Like I want to make a trade, I come here, I'm the maker or the taker, or more like I'm the retail taker. But with the the evolution of DEX, now I think there are different specific scenarios. If we're looking at AMM, there is more than trader. Remember that diagram we had here? It's like there is this on the right upper corner. We also have someone who is adding liquidity into the pool, which is liquidity provider. They're also like stakeholder, or like they are the person who is investing or like depositing, staking their funds into the Uniswap pool. So the Uniswap project, it cares about their capital efficiencies pretty much a lot. They try to always improve how the return can come up with for those liquidity providers. So they are like a very also important players in the platform. And then for AMM context, the trader is always the taker, like retail trader. We mentioned this last time. Whenever you make a trade, you're actually getting the liquidity from the pool contract. And then for aggregators, I think there are different layers. So if we're speaking about like 0x API and 1inch and Paraswap as an aggregator, we are mainly like a off-chain infra layer, like a off-chain, like an API service, but where we are fetching all those liquidity from on-chain, from all those pool, and also from order book and RFQ, and then compare still off-chain. And then we actually expose all those prices or quotes towards our integrator, or we call them affiliate, which I believe is like a 2B concept. So like, for example, Matcha is actually a product or like a team that is using 0x API as a partner or like affiliate. We also provide the API service towards like Zapper, Zerion. All those are like DeFi applications. Also, MetaMask is also using 0x API whenever you do like a MetaMask swap. They can actually be seen as like the aggregator of aggregator, as we mentioned for CowSwap, because when they are using both 0x API, they're using 1inch, they always compare across different aggregator again and find the best one for the user. So in that sense, they're aggregator and aggregator. But from 0x API angle, then they're the integrator or affiliate for us. So that's also, you can say that's the user for the aggregator. But also like when we try to merge the context, when we compare with DEX, right? We try to outreach to the retail trader that is behind the integrator. So that's a 2C part. So like when we count the traders for aggregator, we are actually mostly referring towards like the users on Matcha plus users on Zapper plus users on Xerion, whoever did the swap through 0x API. So that's a 2C layer, which is in parallel with AMM trader. In that case, Maker can potentially be the AMM pool contract if the final successful sourced liquidity is like Uniswap pool, or it can be a retail user when we source the liquidity from an open order book. Because so this concept is that like if you go to Matcha and you want to make a limit order saying, I want to sell this amount of USDC for this amount of WETH, and I'm submitting this order as a limit order into the order book. Basically, you are becoming a liquidity provider or like a source provider, and then you're being a maker in this context. So in that case, limit order user is also one type of maker, and then also like definitely taker, which is just the general normal market order, the retail user behind all the dApps. And then so this is a special case. So sometimes we always see the affiliate or aggregator of aggregator, like for example, MetaMask. They found out, oh, they want to use one proxy contract as the router from their side to call into their proxy contract. And then in that case, this address is going to be taken as the taker, which means when we check the transaction we facilitated with MetaMask, we always see one taker. When we count the MAU, the number is like just one, which is basically masking the actual user behind. So in that case, we will have to check the transaction sender to figure out what's the actual user address. So to handle this, there are different ways. That's also why I think people have different queries when they try to calculate number of users. For example, if we look at this dashboards, there is this query about how many traders in the last 7 days. I believe most people, they just check trader A and trader B, which is taker and maker. But actually that will undercount a lot of users from aggregator because potentially they're just masked by one same contract address. So if I do the number of trader query, I will also like union another part that is checking the project and then transaction sender in the DEX trades table. Yeah, that's just a caveat. What else? Besides user base, we also look at volume market. Sorry, I actually want to add one more metrics here. So it's also very interesting when we want to check like an overlap between user across DEX. If anyone is interested, it could be a homework. You can go to dex.trades table and try to see, oh, how is the user base overlap between, let's say, Uni and Sushi, or the user base overlap between 1inch and 0x API, and how it actually evolved over time, right? It can potentially tell you how users are moving across different DEX. Or if we see like super big overlap between two DEX, it's possible that maybe they are providing very similar list of list of pairs with similar liquidity sides. So people may be moving between them to arbitrage, or let's say maybe they just have simply like the same style of UI and people are getting sticky towards that kind of same style. Yeah, there could be a lot of interesting analysis from there. Okay, and then another very important metrics is volume for sure. We can look at it in the absolute number way, as like every month, how much the trading volume look like. If we just look at this dashboard, we can see, for example, like weekly DEX volume over time, it's broken down by different DEX. And then we can see like the pink is very dominant, which is Uniswap. And then the second one is like a dark blue, which is Sushi Swap. Yeah, and then if we put this whole number, right, in a 100% kind of scale, then that becomes market share when we define market share by trading volume. So if you want to report about, oh, which DEX, what's the market share look like over time? Is it growing or is it going down? what other DEXs are potentially eating up its market share. Those could be also very informative findings you can draw from this data. Yeah. Okay, so now I think we can practice some kind of window function from this DEX trades table finally. So like finally, we're gonna query the DEX trades table. And I think a few principle I want to share though is that like I think personally I always prefer to query from a lower level table. Like if I can query the Ethereum messages table or log table, I would prefer to do that by checking the function call or by checking the topic 0, topic 1 of this event. I think that will be always less confusion or manual process, less information are missing compared to querying like a high level table. For example, like actually in the beginning of the session, Deepanja asked like why potentially this trader A token, trader B token are like flipped. It's very possible like when we define a high level table, there are different definition and then introduce some confusion. So yeah, and then the other thing is that like whenever you are not sure how to decode this event, we know we can always find out the ABI of the contract and then just process it in Dunes portal. And whenever you are not sure all those parameters what they mean, you should always go to like developer doc of those projects, find out the white paper or yellow paper. Like yellow paper, I think the Ethereum yellow paper is super helpful to understand the transactions table, blocks table, when you want to calculate it more like about like gas, all those low level concepts. Yeah, so just a few notes here. All right, so I guess everyone feel free to open a console and let's try to look at this. So if we're talking about the trading volume over time, and we want to see what are the mostly traded pairs across time. And here comes a problem. So there are like thousands of or like hundreds of thousands of tokens that are being traded every day. And imagine if you want to show some like time series charts, let's say per month, and then break it down by the pair, the whole website gonna freeze because it's really hard to respond with like thousands of slices in each bar. So at this point, we will need to do something like, show me only the top 10 and then maybe label all the others as other pairs, right? So we can do that with a case when for sure. If we think about we want to have something like that, sounds like we need to know the rank of each pair per month first by volume. And then we want to check like, if the rank is smaller than 10, then label it as how whatever the DEX name are. And if the rank is larger than 10, let's do that. What was this? Oh, I forgot. Okay, never mind. All right, so still, I forgot about everything about DEX trades table. So let me just take a look at how the table looks like. And then I'm gonna do something like select everything from the table and a limit 10. And okay, now I'm looking at each entry, we have a token A symbol, token B symbol, but I do already notice that some token B symbol is empty. In that case, we want to fill it in with a token address, I guess. It's very common that when we join all those token info table and they are not complete, data is always cannot be ideally clean. So we need to handle that. So I imagine when we try to get that pair thing, we will need to get the token A symbol. Everyone feel free to start with your console as well, or feel free to stop me anytime at this point as well. So I just mentioned that when it's like empty, we will need to fill it in with the token address. Remember we used this actually yesterday, coalias. This is a function where basically saying, if the first one is not available, or if the first one is null, then we check the second one and show it So token A symbol and its token A address. Okay, so this will be one set of token, right? Tip, let's say token A. And then we will have to get the same for token B. Token B. And then thinking about when we report a pair, it's like WETH towards USDC with a dash in between, or like a other any symbol in between, slash. Yeah. How we can get that? We first of all, let's imagine if this runs successfully, it's gonna look like WETH, right? And then the second one will be like USDC. So we will want to try to concate these two strings, which I always use this syntax, which is two vertical dash, two vertical line on the right side of the keyboard. And then it's gonna say, okay, this is basically concatenating all the strings. And then you can concatening like unlimited number of strings here. So I'm gonna concatening it with a dash in between, and then concatenating the token B as well. So then I'll delete this, right? So this is like imagining if it's correct, it's gonna be something like this. So this is a pair. But here's another question, actually exactly what we mentioned in the beginning of the call. What if we see another pair, which is basically USDC and WETH? Do we want to label them as different pair? Personally, I don't think so. I think we want to more like just look at a market without actually logging the direction of the market, because the direction can be defined pretty arbitrary. So how we can handle that? One way I always use is that let's say, I don't care if we show it as WETH to USDC or USDC to WETH. We can show just whatever the way it is. We can maybe just define the direction as the the symbol, if the symbol is larger than the other one. So now we need to determine the who is larger thing. This whole thing is the first one, right? So let's do case when this is smaller than this. Then we just concate like this. And then else we just concate it in the other way. If that makes sense. Okay, let me quit Slack. So I'm just copy pasting. Yeah, so we have case one. Yeah.
Oh, a quick question. So what does it mean by, so if a token symbol is smaller, so like RB is smaller than Bitcoin, is that what it means?
That's true. Yeah, it's just like a generic kind of comparing the string, like comparing the character. Yeah, it's like basically saying I don't care. I just need a way to define the sequence. So I'll just do this. You can do it in other ways too. You can define if it's larger than that, things like that. So looking at this, yeah. Looking at this, so case when, we just check the structure. Case when something, and then we use this, else we use this, and we need an end to finish this case when. And we call it as pair. So we got the pair now from the DEX trades table. And then now we want to know per month, right? So let's say day trunk, we want to get the block time into a month. So day trunk it as months. Block time, call it as months, months and pair. And then now we want to know the total volume, and it's called USD amount, which is a converted USD amount. Yeah, USD amount. So, and then we want to sum them as USD amount. So here we have a question, is that actually, let's look at it first. Let's add some filter because it could be really big data. Where let's say it's last 3 months or maybe 6 months. Now minus interval 6 months. I'm not sure how long it will run. And whenever we have this aggregation function, we need to group by. So we need to group by two other things that is not in the aggregation function. So it's group by 1 and 2. I don't know how long it's gonna run. Okay, what's the problem? Coalias types text and byte A cannot be matched. Okay, so here's the problem. So token A symbol and token A address are different type, and this is type A. This is text. We can just do this how to say format converting thing. I think this is byte A. So let's see if we can just add something like make it a text kind of thing. Text. Wait. Oh, sorry.
Should it be B?
Yeah. Thanks. I just realized. So if it's smaller than B, and then we need to be B. Say if it's gonna work. Oh, it cannot be matched. Where? Line 2. Oh, I missed one. Okay. Okay, now it's working. Not sure how long it's gonna run. Meanwhile, we can check this one. Okay, cool. It ran for 10 minutes. And now we have the Uniswap V3 trading volume per day in the last 30 days. Now let's chart it. Bar chart. Looks like the days are in order. Look great. So yeah, this is the result. But something looks like the USD amount is actually problematic. Coalias token A raw amount. Interesting. I don't know what's wrong here. USD amount. That's weird. We need to do some like spot check for some results. So okay, we can also, this is also a good example. Like if we see the number are totally off, what we can do to debug. So the thing I would do would be, I wonder what is causing this big number. So let's comment it out here and find out like what's the largest trade that we are seeing in the USD amount part. Let's say we still need to get this second part. Actually, yeah, we just need to comment out the aggregation part. But we still want to see the USD amount and also the transaction hash. And then we want to remove the group by. I want to do like order by descending. We want order by USD amount, but we call it 2, let's say order by 2 descending 10. And then we can, spot check some stuff to understand what's going on. Okay, yeah, we need to remove the sum as well. All right, it's gonna run as well for a few minutes. Okay, so we're back here for the pair volume per month. It looks good, but there are some weird now some results. So there are cases where the token price are missing, and then the USD amount is now in the DEX trades table. We can basically filter out the bad data. Say in the where clause, we add like USD amount is not now. And it should be good. So this is gonna take 1 minute. Let's just check if it's gonna be fine too. All right, so we have this monthly volume per pair already. Now we need to think about like how we can rank them. And then rank is basically one of the basic window function. Let's say now we also have this total volume, but then another column we want to add is the rank. So the structure, we can maybe take a look at the say window function rank. Equal. And let's see, what is this? Okay, we can try to find out some example and just look at the general structure it is using. I think let me find something with a partition. All right, so this is like a complete structure of a rank function, right? So it says rank brackets over bracket again. Inside of a bracket, it says partition by something, order by something, maybe ascending or descending, and then call it as a rank. And so like everything is marked in the color, apparently are the syntax that we need to make sure they are complete there. So what we are changing is basically order by what variable and no, partition by what variable and then order by what variable that we want to rank. Then let's get this here. Okay, it ran and then the volume now look fine because we filtered out all those missing volume. Cool. And it's pretty quick. So we're adding this window function here. Let's just add that thing for reference here in case we want to look it up, the structure. So let's say rank brackets and then over, and we need the partition by something, and then order by something. And then because we want to rank the top 10 by volume, so sounds like we need to rank it by the biggest volume as number 1. So sounds like it's going to be order by descending by volume. So I'll add this descending here already, and then call it as like rank. But then you see this rank is red, so probably it's conflicting with some systematic name. I just call it like rank underscore. Or you can, in Dune, you can also do something like this double quotes and then say it's rank. It's basically saying I'm gonna forcing it to be called as rank, and it's not a systematic name, and then it's gonna be called as rank when you see the results in the table. But I'll just call it rank that underscore. Okay, so now we need to fill in stuff here. Let's like try to understand what does that mean, like partition by and order by, right? So partition by here basically saying what are the things you want to group by to rank. It's similar like group by, but then you see we already have a group by, but the partition by is basically saying regardless of the group by already, what kind of rank you want to rank on. How to say? How should I describe it? What are the windows you want to look into, right? So let's say we want to like look at the top 10 pairs per month. We definitely are looking inside of the month window. We want to get for each month, we want to look at all the pairs. And then apparently we want to add the months here as a window in the partition by. So I just copy the thing here. And then next question is like, do we want to add the pair here as well as a window we want to look into? The answer is no, because think about if we're partitioning by, or let's say we are grouping by month and then also grouping by pair, and then summing it up as the sum. Basically, each pair gonna only have one entry, right? And then when we rank it, it's gonna be number 1 for each pair. So answer is no, we shouldn't add a pair here in the partition by. And then so let's deal with the order by. What are we ordering by? It's pretty clear that we're ordering by the total of volume inside of the window we defined. So now we're having this window function saying we're gonna rank for inside of each month. We wanna just check each of the entry or each of the row and then order by the total sum of volume and rank them, which means the rank gonna be assigned towards a pair, which kind of makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. Any questions? All right, yeah, so let's run it and we can see if the rank makes sense here as a result. Let me try to resizing it. I think it should be correct. Oh, also one more thing though. If we want to check the trading pair volume on DEX, we need to add that category to exclude the aggregators. So I actually missed it earlier. So category as the double counting issue we mentioned yesterday. Yeah. And also we already have a time window filter, so it won't be crazy. So let's try to run it. Okay, it doesn't have arrow. That's good. 1 minute. Okay, let's also look back here. Okay, USD amount is now Let me filter it out. Where USD month? Okay, copy paste this in. It's not now. Okay, almost there. Okay, assumingly, I think it's gonna be correct. I pre-tested it. So imagine when we have like entry of month, pair, volume, and then rank for each pair inside of each month. We want to do it next thing we want to do is to do the case when of labeling if they are the top 10 or not. So at that point, we want to wrap it into like subquery. So we can call it like a raw trades or like trade with rank. Pair rank, let's call it. Pair rank as the first raw table on an indent then. And then from here, imagine we have this table. Correct. Then we have month, we have pair, and we have the total volume per month, per month and pair. I don't know how we're gonna deal with it. But let me copy it first. And then here we want to add a tag if it's a top 10 or not. So basically saying, oh, cool, we have the table now. So looking at ordered by months, cool. This is like June, and we have the pair USDC, USDT, DC to DT, which looks fine. Total volume, rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Cool. Looks correct to me. And then I'll deal with this how to say top 10 flag from here, right? Let's say I want to do a case when by checking the rank, if the rank is smaller than 10, then we label it as top 10 pair. No, we actually want to know the pair name, so we call it pair. Else we label it as others. And as let's say rank flag. And then we actually don't need pair anymore when we think about this. And then when we want to show the volume, we need to sum it up. So let's do a sum total. And then select it from the first table, pair rank. And then we have one aggregation function. So we need to group by 1 and 2. 1 and 2. All right, I think it's gonna be the final product. And we want to call this query as DEX, how to say, DEX trading pair top 10 versus others and last 6 months. Be very specific about the filters. Yep. Okay, I think it's gonna be fine. Meanwhile, it's still running. Okay, maybe I should go back to my slides. Yeah, so once the query is out, we are pretty much I think I'm done with the DEX part slides. And then we can talk about DAO a little bit. Any question about this window function part? No, sounds good. Okay, so this is a DAO content that I prepared. This is like pretty, how to say, vintage DAO, because that was like pretty much the first or two large scale discussion about DAO. So decentralized autonomous organization, as DAO's definition, it's more like my understanding is that like it's a group of people who want to advise or do the governance for these projects, like proposing what they think could be good to do or what are the changes necessary to make for these projects to be to function in a better way. And then someone gonna come to the forum or this governance or this, I mean, discussion happen in Discord a lot, but there will be like a governance portal. People can propose the proposals about, let's, for example, here the screenshot says, we need to correct something for the over accrued compound. That was a incident happened last month or something. And then like someone says, oh, we need to change the risk parameter when people lend all these assets. based on, for example, maybe the market change and stuff. And then people gonna vote. Basically, this is like a how to say, a governance that is decided by the votes by people, and the voting weight is the token that you're holding. Something is not that good is that like people actually have some critics about, oh, when they go to compound governance, they see that actually A16Z, which is a VC that is investing in the project, has a lot of votes, and then which means whenever they vote yes or no, it can be a really big factor that is determining the final results. We can also interesting metrics can be how decentralized this DAO is, right? I think to translate that question, we can basically check the voting power distribution across different DAO. And that could be a good metrics for evaluating if this DAO is decentralized enough or it's pretty much centralized by the VC. These are some screenshots. Let me actually go to the Compound website. So if we go to Compound website, we see governance tab, checking the info here. Now we want to say how we can query all this data on chain, because all these voting are supposed to be logged on chain so that no one can actually revert it, right? So going through this info from this blog, and then actually they gave all the information about where the on-chain things are happening. I found that, they say Compound token is deployed here, and then the governance contract is this one. And then we go to Etherscan, check, what is this? Compound governor alpha contract, check all those events. And the events are pretty actually clear here, decoded. We see proposal executed, which seems like, right, when the proposal started and then voted and then passed either yes or no, and then they execute it and they're gonna make change towards the contracts. Proposal queued, which is actually a status when after the votes is already decided. Correct me if I'm wrong, because actually all the information can be found out from their developer portal.
Actually, I have an interjection here. This might be a cool time to actually go. I have a tool to show off to go through the contracts. Okay, here.
Yes. You wanna?
Yeah. Let me share my screen.
How should I? Stop streaming.
I think I can take it over. Yeah.
Cool.
So far we've been going through contracts just through Etherscan, right? But it does happen once in a while that you end up having to go through the contracts like much more deeply. And let me turn off my Slack.
No, it is.
Can everyone see my screen? Should be the Compound GitHub profile repo.
I think I'm seeing Discord.
Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second. Screens. Okay, can you see GitHub now?
Yes.
Yes? Okay,
Yes.
cool. All right. So all I did is I just went to Compound's repo, went to their protocol, and I know from previously that they have a governance folder in here with all of their contracts, right? Now you could go through and try to figure out what's going on through like reading here, but there's actually a few fun tools if you download Visual Studio Code. So I'm just gonna open this in GitHub Desktop and clone it. My Wi-Fi might cut out for a second because my Wi-Fi is really bad. But I'm gonna open this repo in Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is an editor. It's like a code editor where you can write code and neatly connect things to GitHub and run tests and whatnot. I won't go through the interface too much, but something cool is I have this plugin. I think it's called Solidity Visual Debugger, Visual Developer, this one, right? So for anyone who's somewhat familiar with VS Code, you have code extensions, go and install this Solidity Visual Developer extension. Because what you can do is if I now look at, say, this delegator contract, I can go up here and I can graph it. and it'll show me the function call, basically the flow of this contract, right? So in this case, this is a proxy contract, so it's just basically, it looks like it's nothing, basically, right? So I'm going to go to the delegate contract. I'm going to grab this one instead. And this will actually show me exactly how the calls work across the whole contract, right? So a lot of times for something that's more complex, I'll actually go and copy the contracts into here and see like, okay, what are the main functions I should be looking at, right? And anytime you see like these red functions, essentially, those are like the functions that can get called. So I can see that there's like a cast vote with reason must be something different. Cast vote with sig must also be something different. And so this is like a nifty tool just for kind of like figuring out like, okay, there's this governor Bravo contract, and it seems to call this other contract called comp, and it also calls this contract called time lock, right? And so you look at that and you're like, okay, comp is the token that's being used for the vote. Each comp token you have counts as a vote, right? And this time lock, I'm like, okay, what is grace period? Grace period has to do with voting, right? It must have to do with queue as well, right? And eventually once you start looking through this stuff and seeing like what gets called to execute what, it'll kind of become more clear to you like, oh, the way compound works is that there's some sort of base, like there's base, what's it called? Like base parameters on like what are the rules around like a proposal threshold, how long you have a voting period, and like how long is there a voting delay before voting starts. And then basically it's like, oh, if you execute something, you can execute a proposal, but it has a grace period, right? So then I would have to look somewhere for this time lock contract and be like, oh, okay, what is this time lock, right? We have an easier one. We have their original, essentially their original governance thing, which is just alpha. So this one's a lot easier to read through, right? But even in this one, you can just quickly run it and see like, oh, okay, these are the main functions that I should be looking at, right? So just want to quickly show that off, just so anyone who's like confused or thinks that like looking through Etherscan is too slow, just download the repo and then get this extension, and it'll make your life a lot easier for going through complex contracts, especially a lot of DeFi. Like, for example, like Balancer. Balancer is one that I spent a lot of time looking through here just to see like, okay, if I didn't want to just graph this contract, but I wanted to graph like everything, then I would click this and it would show me like basically how every single contract in this folder connects. And you can click and see like the connections across contracts. This might not make any sense, but this is a useful tool for when you get deeper into things.
Yeah, this is sick, man. It's
Okay.
like if you want to do like holistic or comprehensive research about what are the metrics you can get from all those on-chain things they are logging, this will be very comprehensive
Exactly.
way to, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
grab
back to you.
All right, thanks. I cannot find. Oh, cool. I find the screen. We don't have much time left, so I'll do a quick one. So, looking through all those events, right? We see all those things, but one major thing we see is vote cast, which is basically looking like people are voting, and then they're voting on which proposal ID, and then they're voting support Boolean, which is yes or no, I guess. And then it's like how much votes they are using and who is voting. So it's pretty clear. It's like, great, we don't even need to join on like a pool contract to figure out which proposal it is. So we can try to do a quick one. And first thing is that maybe this event is already decoded on Do Analytics. So let's see, try to search this table. It's gonna be compound V2, I believe. V2. Yeah, and then that thing is called governor governor alpha contract, right? It's I have to say that like right now the search is still not that explicit. How to say? But yeah, we do find it. Vodcast, it's the event we want to see. Cool. So we can just query this table and figure out like we can see all the through all the time. How was the voting results for all those proposals? Yeah. So let's say select something from it. Take a look at the table first. 10. Okay. Actually, the schema disappeared, so I want to just copy paste everything and just make it here table. And we see voter address, proposal ID, support, true, false, votes. This looks like the raw amount of the compound token, so we can divide it by 18. And then this is the time when they voted. Yeah. So let's say we want what are the information we want here? We want a proposal ID, and then we want the support info, which is yes or no. But true or false is not that explicit. I guess we can use it for now. Or if you want to be very how to say clear, you can say case when it's true, then say yes, else then no, and as the vote. And then we want to sum up the votes, probably also divided by 18 digits as total votes. And then seems like super easy. Group by one, order by one as well, order by the ID. And what's going on? Okay, so because this is like how to say capitalized thing, we need to do like a okay, how should I get this? Okay, I clicked on it, but I don't know. I don't know. Let's see if it's gonna work. Oh, must appear in group by what? Oh, sorry, I missed the one of the group by, which is 2. All right, yeah, we get it. So fast. And then we want to chart it, right? Let's say the x-axis should be proposal ID, and then y-axis should be the total votes. And now it doesn't show yes or no. And then we group it by if it supports or not. And so now it's like true is blue, false is orange. It doesn't really make that much sense. Let's change the color here. True would be, say, green. This color is very compound. And false is like red. And still, it's too, how to say, compact. And we want to stack it probably to see. Oh, cool. So now it looks like most of them passed, but there are maybe 2, 3 of them are actually rejected by the community. And then another better way, because it's either 50%, right? So let's say normalize to percentage. And then when we look at the 50%, we know clearly which one was rejected. This one actually was, how to say, accepted because the true percentage is like just slightly larger than 50%. So yeah, this is like a showcase of, let's say, compound proposal votes. Cool. And there could be more metrics to evaluate if this votes actually is decentralized enough, as we mentioned previously. You can check like number of people who participated, or you can check how's the voting weight per how to say per voter look like. Could be really interesting metrics to evaluate the quality of this vote. And so actually there's this compound governance dash that I found from doing analytics from someone that is pretty insightful. This is actually taken from one of his chart as an idea. And then you see he also checked the voter count, and apparently this one had the most participants for the votes. I think that was the one to correct the compound overissuance. Yeah, that will be the DAO part that I try to cover. We actually can check back this results for the top 10 pairs thing. So now it looks like it looks pretty good. We can chart it, right? So this is over time. I forgot what was that? Oh, it's last 6 months and per month. So X should be month, Y should be total, and then we grouped by the tokens. So this looks good. This is like the top 10 pairs plus all the others looks pretty big, which is pretty making sense. So we still want to stack it. So now this one looks like this is the top 10. What are the top 10 pairs? And then all the other pairs as the green one. To make it better, I think we can order it. And so, for example, all the others are always at the bottom. And so you can see more clearly how the other area compared to the other pairs. So yeah, I'll copy this link. And I think we covered things we want to cover today. Is that it already? Okay, cool. Nice. Finally, I made it within the hour. Thank you guys. Questions, 2 minutes, 1 minute. No question. Feel free to leave any questions in the chats. That's it. Andrew, any closing? LFG?
No, I mean, yeah, that was very impressive. We got through all that in an hour.
Oh, cool. Yeah, hopefully it's not too overwhelming. And also, see, we spotted an issue here. We will still need to, diagnose into why this number are wrongly decoded. One of my assumption is that I think, as I recall, Uniswap doesn't really always, fix the token 0 and token 1 as how they are logging the amount 0 and amount 1. So we may need to find a way to figure out if it's mapping correctly. So like maybe we are flipping A and B when we're logging the amount, and then they are divided by wrong decimal, and that's why we're seeing some astronomical number here. But maybe that could be a homework as well for anyone that is interested to debug. Yeah, that's everything I want to say.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. We'll put that in the homework channel as well. If anyone wants to look into that error as well as just like other examples of DAO governance, I will say DAO governance has evolved and grown a lot. It's like normally a few categories of like either protocol changes, like grant giving, or like trying to vote in on some sort of spending of the treasury, basically. But yeah, protocol DAOs are like the OGs of last year, and now this year it's like you have DAOs like FWB or like Nouns DAO. Like those are both like I guess worth looking into. But yeah, we'll probably cover more about DAOs next week.
All right, great to see you, everyone. See you next time.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Danny.